Hello there, this is part 3 of our training series, and we're continuing with our texturing, advanced texturing in Blender. And again, if you want to support the channel, you can become a patron, and you'll also have access to this model so that you can proceed proceed with the tutorial and practice with the model itself. So let's continue here. Again, we're trying to replicate the substance workflow, trying to achieve the same texturing we have here using Blender 2.8. So we have already baked out the pointness or the curvature map that we are going to be using, so we don't need these nodes anymore. And now we can switch back to Eevee and see how that texture map looks. So you just need to preview this and import that texture, image texture. This is our curvature map, and preview that. You can see we have those sharp corners. Also, another thing maybe I forgot to mention is that before you bake out anything, including the ambient occlusion, first check your normals by going on this icon here, this overlay icon, drop down menu, and turn on face orientation to see where your normals are facing. So if you have normals that are facing where they're not facing, select everything and recalculate normals by holding down Shift N to recalculate normals. So you want the blue areas show that our normals are facing in the right direction. So if you look at this here, the normals are supposed to face on the inside, but right now they are facing on the outside. So I'll just select everything, Shift N to recalculate the normals, and if they are not changing direction, you just go under this pop-up and change their direction. You want to look at the mesh. The faces that are facing you should look purple, and those that are not facing you should look red, like you see here. So this is just the back side of this side, that's why you see that is showing red. And yeah, so before you bake anything, make sure you have that corrected, otherwise your bake is going to show errors, or is going to not look correct. So let's turn this off and continue with our bake. You can see our bake is like this, and it's a bit faded. We don't see the details quite well. So what I'm going to do is add a color ramp here to control the contrast of this, and I'm also going to add a convert math node and change the operation to power just to amplify the effect a bit. So I can increase this a bit, and I can also use this here to control the contrast. Like that. Okay, I think I exported a low resolution mesh when I was exporting this this texture map, the curvature map. So let me see. This would need that. Because I'm looking at this, and I think this is quite low res compared to what I was expecting. So I'll add a bevel here because you can see I don't have enough details like I have on this mesh here. This is all white. I don't see the sharp corners, and yet it's supposed to be this rectangular tube instead of, yeah, so I'm not seeing the details. So what I'm going to do is add a bevel and change the limit method to angle, so that I limit the bevel to only those corners, and then let me change the segment to 2 and add a subdivision to have more details there. I can also come back here. This is all smooth, so I don't need to add a bevel there. So I'll also add, you can see we are missing a lot of details on this as well, so I would just redo the entire thing and but I think this is important to show you how you can kind of debug or another thing you see that because we used a 2K image to bake, we are missing some of the details are not coming through as I want them. So maybe I may have to increase the resolution a bit from a 2K to a 4K image so that we get those details, so that we get some of the details we have here. So I'm also going to add another bevel modifier for this. Increase the segments to 2. Let me preview this here. Change the angle limit. Reduce. Actually, for this here, sometimes when you have edges that are too close to each other, the bevel doesn't seem to work because the bevel width is higher than the distance of the different of the some of the distance between the different edges. So let's see, there is an option to kind of just ignore those, but let's see width method. So I don't think I will be able to bevel this correctly using the bevel modifier. So let me try. Let me see. Let me just select this. Select by angle. Okay, and increase the threshold so that I can select. Let me first turn off the seams. So that I select all the sharp edges on this object, and I think I have them selected. Let's go back to the bevel tool here and see. Let me change the view here. Okay, it seems the bevel is working, is there? So let's do 2 result 2. It's only when I change it to an angle that it changes. So let's try increasing the angle bit to something like 80. Okay. I think we're just going to go with the option that I was doing. So after you select the sharp edges, and the way you select them, you just select one sharp corner like that, and then shift G, then select face angles, and that will select all the angles, all the sharp angles, and then go to the object data. Shift G, face angle, object data, and then under vertex group, assign these edges as a vertex group. So let's see if we can select them. Okay, so that is also selecting a few edges we don't want to select, because let's see what, because I was planning to use that as the vertex group here, but that is also going to bevel other areas we don't want to bevel. So let's see. We may end up just beveling these manually. So face angles. I don't think I should bevel this area because they are too close to each other, and they won't give me the. If I have them in the selection, they won't give me the results I want. So I'll just deselect them, and then Ctrl B to bevel this myself like that. And now if we add a subdivision surface, you can see we have retained the sharp corners, and if we add back our pointness, under geometry, then color ramp. So previously this is what we baked out, and let's preview this in cycles or without. So we are selling in this, so switch this to cycles. You can see now we are getting that detail in. I'll undo everything else. I want every area to have that kind of detail. We're missing that detail here, so we're going to do the same thing on this here. So I'll just select. I think for this we can just use a regular bevel with a limit method set to angle, so that we don't capture these corners that are rounded, and we want this to be small shade. Reduce the bevel width. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I think we need at least 3, and I think that's good. So if we add a subdivision surface, you can see this. We are adding a bevel here. I think we should. So, and we don't want this. We want this to be a smooth corner. We don't want it to be affected by the bevel. So we just increase the bevel angle like that. But now we are having this issue here. So let me first undo this. I think I can select these edges here that are creating that issue, and just bevel them manually like that. And now if we add the bevel, it should reduce on that issue. We have this here, so let me just also kind of bridge or connect those faces there, so that we remove that artifact you see there. I think we are good. We have an issue at the top here, so I think I can just add a few supporting loops here and here. So let me first undo this. Let me first join this to that, and then add a supporting loop there, and add a supporting loop there, like that. Yes, so we have something like that. And now if we go back to this, you can see we are capturing the details we need to capture. So let's undo and hide. Let's see where else we need to capture that detail. I think that's it for now. So I just need to rebake this. So again, I'll just connect this to the base color, and I'll bake again. And you can see how this looks. You're going to see the amount of detail we capture again after we bake. So let me bake. Also, another thing, you can see we are capturing more detail now because we have more resolution in our mesh. But we're going to run into the same problem we ran into because we still have. I baked on a 2K image, so some of the details are going to be pixelated. So let me stop this and change the resolution of the image. So you just hit N to bring up these settings and go under item. Make sure you have the image selected and discard whatever changes you have, so you can have back. So okay, so I'm not able to change the texture resolution because I already saved this image, so I'll just delete it and add a new image. Texture, image texture, new. I need this to be 4K, so I'll multiply this by 2. I'll call this curvature and bake again. So I'll see you in the next tutorial.